Hey everybody, we're at Tyman On Tap. We only have 3 jam-packed more episodes until we go off the air for a little bit, and then we're gonna come back with a new format and maybe a new night, maybe a late night. We'll see how this goes. So we're gonna have a good rundown of great guests over the next 3 weeks, because we might as well go out with a bang, right? Alan, so you can't talk; they can't hear you. So why am I asking you questions? So we have a band, 2 performers out of Jersey City tonight that made a trek all the way up to the Great White North of Connecticut to in some really cold weather to be on air tonight. And we're going to ask them some cool stuff about their music, about other cool things, about maybe living in Jersey City. I don't know. I've never been to Jersey City. I'm very curious about a city named Jersey. Okay, the bridge next to my house is closing down, and Alan wants me to talk about it because it's going to affect his bus route. So Alan's bus is going to go from taking an hour to get to school every day to like an hour and a half. So he's very, very upset about this. If you have any complaints, please talk to the traffic czar in New Haven, Doug Hazelman. I can't pronounce his last name. It's like Hazelden, I don't know. But he's a former alderman from Ward 7 in New Haven, so email him and he won't respond to your emails like he doesn't respond to mine, and complain about how public transportation in New Haven stinks. Breaking news today, this week, they announced that Bitcoins are going to be considered property, not currency in terms of tax. So if you pay somebody in Bitcoins, they are going to be taxed at the rate of paying somebody in other property. So if you pay somebody like in diamonds, it's the same as paying them in Bitcoins according to the IRS. So now you can't use it to get around paying taxes on it, and now you have to pay taxes on it. Just like Amazon. All right, so let's go to a PSA, and then we'll come back and we'll introduce our guests. All right, we're back. We have our guests, Karen and Joe. Maybe we can go to a shot of Karen and Joe, or are we just going to look at Joe? Different Joe. All right.
There we are.
There's
What's happening, folks?
Karen and Joe again. So why don't you just introduce yourself to the audience. You guys are from not from around here, really.
No, we're from Jersey City, and it was actually a pretty nice ride up. We hit traffic once, which was miraculous. We came across the George Washington Bridge, and we didn't have to stop. Again, it was just like miraculous until we got here. And we actually play up here sometimes a couple times a year, sometimes only once a year, but we like playing up here, so here we are.
What do you mean by up here? Like?
Are we in the Pioneer Valley?
Pioneer Valley is probably an hour north of here.
Okay, so then no. Okay. In New England, for a while we were doing a lot of festivals up here. We do a festival in Massachusetts every year called the Mattoon Festival.
Okay, where is that located?
That's in Springfield.
Okay.
And we've done a couple of cable access shows in Massachusetts. Okay. I don't think we've ever done a cable access show that's actually this close to where we live. So this was like, this was like quick to what we're used to. Yeah.
Well, New Haven County, it's a lovely place. You should visit more often.
That's the plan.
Yeah. There's a lot of, New Haven's a great college town. There's a few universities there, like one big one, but a few other ones. But a lot of great places for local music. I guess you guys are local enough if you're from Jersey City. Yeah,
and there are a lot of events in Jersey City. There are a lot of great songwriters, a lot of really wonderful musicians and bands. But there aren't that many clubs there.
Okay.
And playing in New York is extremely competitive and kind of stressful. So we're looking for other places to play that are fairly close to where we are, so that we don't have to go through it. I mean, I figure if there's going to be stress involved, I want to actually go somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't want to, like be all freaked out because the subway's all screwed up and we had to bring 50 people and we didn't bring 50 people and where are 50 people and all that crap. It's like, let's just go someplace that's maybe a bit more laid back, but where we're going to be appreciated. So
It's interesting you say that, because actually a couple weeks ago I was at Cafe 9, which is a bar in New Haven, and they have bands there, and my friend from Queens, his band was there, and so another band from a place for all the hipsters, like Williamsburg.
Oh yeah, Williamsburg. Yeah.
So they actually left New York City to play because it was just you just take the train. you know, it's like an hour 15-minute train ride from New York City, so
Yeah.
Grand Central, so it was like pretty easy for them. So they
Yeah.
did go do that.
Exactly. And the drive isn't bad either. We came up the Merritt.
Yeah.
Either way, playing in Manhattan is challenging in a lot of ways, and I admire people who do it. There are a lot of great people playing there. But if you don't want to, I don't know, compete is not really the right word, but if you don't want to feel like you're confronting the industry
Yeah.
every time you play a chord, for God's sake,
Yeah.
then you want to find some other places to play.
Yeah.
And it's also good to play regionally. You get to see other bands that you wouldn't normally see. You get to see other parts of, you know, the country that you live in, and, you know, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because so my cousin has a band out in Boston. He's actually been on the show before, and he actually made the trek down to New York City, and he said he ended up taking home $5 after everything he spent on.
That's a big night.
Yeah.
$5 and free.
Yeah.
Whoa, you know, it's a freaking king's ransom. Yeah, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so it's. And he just said he always was like had his eye open to see, make sure nobody's touching his stuff. Like when he gets off stage, he just like doesn't know who's in the bars, and
Oh, yeah.
he plays some really divey places. But
Yeah, there's not that many of them left, actually. Well, as far as I know.
Yeah.
We haven't played there for so long that, you know, I kind of don't know what's going on. But when we came up here, we knocked on the door, and Susan downstairs opened
Yeah.
it, and she said, "Was it locked?" And I said, "We're from New York. The doors are locked all the time, and nothing's open." Yeah.
That's funny. I live in New Haven, which is a little bit more dangerous than New York. And,
Really?
Yeah. New Haven's the third dangerous city in America.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a loaded number. The violence has went down by 6% last year, and it's only in certain neighborhoods, and other neighborhoods are very safe, especially neighborhoods surrounded by Yale. But yeah, nobody. You can't find an open door in New Haven.
Wow.
Like they do the thing with the keys. If you go to like a fast food place downtown, they have the keys behind the counter. So if you're eating and you go to the bathroom, you have to ask the manager for the key. So you can unlock the bathroom door and use the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah, no, well, you take for granted that everything in New York is kind of dicey most of the time.
Yeah.
But I'm continually hearing that the crime stats have gone down.
Yeah.
And where we live, it was a working class neighborhood when I moved in. It was kind of dicey. It's become the hipster spot
Yeah.
since I've been there, which is kind of disturbing. And the street crime that I'm aware of has actually increased as the quality of the neighborhood has improved.
Really.
If anyone from Jersey City hears that, please don't go nuts. This is just what I heard. I'm not saying it's true. That's just what I heard. But be that as it may, I always assume that every place else is way safer
Yeah.
than where I live. It just has to be, because it's not New York City, it's not Jersey City. It's got to be safer.
3 of the 10 most dangerous cities in America are in Connecticut.
Really?
Bridgeport, New Haven, and I want to say Hartford, maybe Hartford. Hartford's like a real big American city, so I mean yeah, Bridgeport and New Haven are pretty dangerous.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, like I said, it's very like New Haven. A lot of it is like gang-related violence and drug-related violence. It's not like people breaking into homes and type of stuff. Like it's
Right.
But it's still like the numbers count. And since there's 4 college campuses, you get a lot of like laptop thefts, rape, stuff that happens a lot on campuses, which is not good. But like it's kind of it boosts the whole entire crime in the city. But it's really you get a lot of young people making bad decisions together and stuff like that happens.
Yeah, that can happen. So you don't have a lot of street crime and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but you have a lot of stuff happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening, but you know, crime is what it is.
Yeah.
The gentrification is just another scary, maybe not necessarily a good option to deal with it, but
It does, yeah, it really does drive the crime numbers down.
yeah.
But then people get priced out.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten priced out yet,
Yes.
which is great, but I expect it every year. We
Yeah.
also have no rent control. So who knows? I've been in my apartment for 20 years. I love my apartment. I love my neighborhood. My neighborhood's gotten better. We've got like all these gourmet restaurants there, and you know, lots of very thin women with high-priced dogs walking around.
Jersey City sounds very similar to New Haven, by the way.
We don't have the colleges, though.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2, but they're small.
Okay.
So, yeah, and we've got 1 bar where bands play.
Yeah.
There are not a whole lot of music venues there. There are a lot of musicians still, because even though the pockets of the town are getting very expensive, overall Jersey City is still relatively affordable. So you still have a fair number of musicians there, but we only have the one venue.
Yeah, it seems like every place in New Haven. I guess the difference is every place has like they have bands perform there all the time. Like every single place. Like I think tomorrow night the one bar I go to is having like regional bands. The next night there's a Smith cover band from New Haven performing at another bar. It's just like every place. And then there's Saturday there's another bar having another band. So it's like literally every night you could go to a different bar to hear a band perform. Actually tonight there's another bar called Bar. It's a pizza place that actually is having a band. So literally from Wednesday night until Saturday night, you can go to a different bar in New Haven to hear live music.
All right, well, we're going to have to look into that because that's just so not Jersey City. And the train stops there. You can take the Metro North from Grand Central. Yes. There you go. No Amtrak involved.
No Amtrak.
Good, yeah.
That's, the train is a very... I work in Southern Fairfield County, and so, I mean, I'm very familiar with how to get towards the city. Like, I do that every day. Every day I go like 20 minutes outside of New York City, then drive back.
Really? Where do you go to?
Westport.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we passed that on the Merritt. Yeah.
So you did my commute from work to home today as you were driving up here?
Yeah.
I typically get off in Milford, Connecticut, and then take 95 the rest of the way. But
95 is terrible. That's why we take the Merritt.
Well, there's a lot of construction on it. The 95 to 91 crossover in New Haven is like the most heavily trafficked. I don't know, I guess crossover in the country because it's between Boston and New York and Hartford and stuff. So it's like it's been like that for 40 years, and they're finally fixing it. So
that's good.
So I mean, if you hit that, I don't think the traffic wasn't too bad today, but some days in the traffic you'll be backed up for 20 miles just driving through. It's bad, but we've been talking a lot about infrastructure here. So let's talk about you guys. So how did you guys meet?
Oh dear. Okay, you want to tell the story, or shall I?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. So all right. We were in each other's orbits for a little while before we actually hooked up. When I started to really become aware of Joe, it was the last gig that I had with my last band.
Okay.
And it was a dreadful evening. No one was talking to anyone else. They were brothers, and if I remember correctly, they weren't talking to each other, which is quite something. And neither one of them was talking to me. Hooray. So we were going to play in this terrible place in the city.
Were you in Oasis by any chance? Because this sounds like...
No. I would have made a hell of a lot more money, you know, and we would have come up here either in a helicopter or a limo. Anyway, and I was also not feeling well. I was having some kind of like mild fluish, coldish thing, and I didn't feel bad enough to cancel the gig, but I felt like I should just be home. It was just crappy. And I got there before they did, and I was thinking, if I leave before they get here, then, you know, I'll just say I was never here. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so they get there, my bandmates, and the bassist has brought this crappy bass that he found in the garbage. And I'm like, God damn it. How am I supposed to manage this now, you know? So I was standing at the bar and I was thinking, I'll just get through it. You know, it'll be all right. Just, you know, breathe deeply. And then the drummer's girlfriend, who was like a stalker, had called the bar a couple times to find out if he was going to be there. And the bartender told me. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? He's like, well, maybe you should know. I'm like, I don't want to know this. So I told the drummer, I'm like, yeah, your girlfriend's coming or not. I don't know. You might want to talk to her. Whatever. So I'm standing there, and I'm looking at the bar, and I'm thinking, it'll all be over in about an hour and a half, and I can get the hell out of here, and this part of my life will be over. And then Joe comes in, and he says, hey, Karen, how you doing? And it was just so nice and normal and so not fraught. I thought, I should be playing with somebody like this. I should be playing with somebody who's nice and normal and, like, not fraught and, you know, doesn't make me want to run out the door. And, you know, that kind of got me thinking. I played the set with the other band. It was actually really good. And we got offered a house band gig for a joint in Queens. But the bandmates, who are from Jersey, said it was too far to drive, which just kind of made me want to tear my hair out. I did not. And I started thinking, I need to play with somebody who is not who doesn't make me want to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
You know. So then there's Joe. And then a while after that, we kind of lost track of each other. And then a while after that, we ended up playing in the same place in Jersey City, this place called the Waterbug Hotel.
Okay.
And a friend of mine told me that I should go over to Joe and tell him to drive me home.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't do that. I'm not going to walk up to some man I barely know and tell him to drive me home. And she said, you will. Go do that. And I said, I'm not going to do that. And she said, do you want me to do it? I said, no, that would be even more embarrassing. So I went over there and I said, you know, it's kind of late. I only live a couple blocks from here. Could you, like, drive me home? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he did. And here we still are. So, you know, that's how we met.
That's cool. We only have like a minute before the break, so but I want to get when we come back from the break, I want to ask you what you guys how you guys got into music. Maybe a little bit more of your pre-band history, and then we'll go from there.
Sure.
So let's just go to the PSA now. And we're back, everyone! Yay! So we're back here with Karen and Joe. We're going on to segment number 2 with them. Segment 2 of 3. And so we heard how they got together. So let's talk a bit about. So how did you get into music before? Like you were in a band. I'm assuming that you were playing music before you started performing with Karen. So what were you doing before? Like how did you get into music? How is this something like, man, I'm gonna do this?
Well, as a kid, I liked listening to Beatles, Stones, and Zeppelin. You know, I listened to. I'm trying to think of other bands.
Small Faces.
Small Faces, Iron Maiden. So I just like music.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to when I was like in high school, I used to take 2 speakers like late at night and listen to the Ramones.
Yeah.
You know.
That's cool.
So took guitar lessons when I was 14. Was kind of on and off, and then I joined a cover band. They were like a Pretenders cover band.
Okay.
Let's see, I was in some original bands here and there. Let's see, I'm trying to think what other bands it was. But anyway, I enjoy performing and also enjoy writing.
Yes.
Writing my own music. I'm bad at this. But trying to think. So, it's something I always. I just like being on, when I'm on stage and if if we've done a couple of shows under our belt, it's just time goes so fast. You could do once you do the first 3 songs and then it's like, oh wow, it's almost over. You know.
So how long is a set that you typically perform?
About 45 minutes.
Okay.
Usually.
Okay. So it just feels like 5 seconds when you're up there once you get those.
Oh yeah, once depending on the venue and all that stuff. But let's say after you do a sound check and stuff, and then it's time to go on, it just seems 45 minutes just goes like that.
Sometimes. Then there's other times. Yeah, I mean, I know that when I perform, usually the first 3 songs I'm really comfortable, and then if I'm going to have stage fright, it will hit then.
Yeah.
Or I will have an attack of what I call absurdity, where I feel like this is the most ridiculous thing that anybody could possibly do. I'm standing here, I'm holding a guitar, I'm singing a song really loud at these freaking people. What is this? Yeah. What exactly is the meaning of this? And I'll be thinking this as I'm playing.
So have an existential crisis as you're about to perform.
Oh sure. Oh no, as I'm performing, which is absolutely horrible, because I'm trying to put as much emotion and feeling and honesty into whatever it is I'm singing about, and there's a secondary cassette tape running in my head saying, this is completely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Can't we just leave? Can we go home? I want to go home. You can stay, but I want to leave. And that usually will hit around the 3rd song. By the 4th song, it's over. Yeah. Or the 5th song. And then, I'm like, I'm good. But it happens just about every time I play.
One of the main reasons the Beatles stopped performing after 1965 or 1966, whatever their last concert was because John Lennon did not like performing live. He didn't understand why people came out and saw him.
Oh, right. You can't blame him. Back in the day, they didn't have any monitors or anything. When they were out there playing in Shea Stadium, all they had was just the speakers going on in the house. They couldn't even hear.
They had to run with their guitars on stage. Like they had to bring them up with them.
But
That
all
looks
they,
so
but all
cool,
they heard,
though.
all they heard was the screaming girls. They couldn't even hear themselves.
Well, then, you know, that could have its benefits, especially if you don't like... I mean, I've read that Lennon didn't like the way his voice sounded, so, you know, maybe he didn't mind being drowned out by the shrieks of the feral young women.
He was a very odd dude. He was a very odd man, but yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, if John Lennon can be apprehensive about performing live, I think anybody else can be, right?
Yeah, I think that most people are to a certain degree. Fortunately, for me, it turns into something else, you know, either just enjoyment or excitement. For some people, it just stays like absurdity and terror.
Yeah.
And that must be terrible to deal with. I'm really glad you know, whatever happens in my brain, the little switch flips and it becomes something good. You know, I put the adrenaline to good use as opposed to being derailed by it.
So before we heard about Karen's previous band, what were you doing before you teamed up with her?
Oh, well, actually, she mentioned how we met. I mean, I would see her time to time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was going to try out for her as a bass player because she knew my brother, Nelson, as a drummer.
Yeah.
So it would have been, you know, Nelson said, hey, you want to check this out? They're looking for a bass player.
And then I hooked up with the two maniacs.
And then she hooked up with the other two guys.
That's a show in itself.
And then that's when, so I would see her from time to time, like on the subway in the city or even Jersey City or Hoboken, whatever. And then...
Are you from Jersey City or?
No, well, I'm originally from, I was born in Manhattan.
Okay.
And then, you know, I was early, you know, when I was 3 years old, my parents moved to Jersey, Cliffside Park, which is by the Washington Bridge area.
Yeah.
And then later on, I moved to Jersey City.
Okay.
So what was the name of the band you were playing with before you played with me?
Clueless.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that's a band that my brother and I did.
Yeah.
Mostly acoustic. And then we got, once in a while, we got a bass player. My brother, since he played drums, he would sing and play drums. Play guitar, sing, play guitar, that kind of thing. So and, but we actually did the same, like what she's saying. We used to do interviews out in, like, in Connecticut, Mass.
Yeah.
You know, like little, like cable access shows like this. And I think it's great. One thing I like about this area, like the New England area, it seems like people are more supportive towards more regional and local acts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying New York isn't, but the thing is, New York is there's a lot of good bands, but you'll be like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that's just because, like, if you look at it like New York compared to like New England, like New England's a region, and like there's like Boston, and people like will travel to Boston or whatnot, but like it's still like a region of people. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And then in New York, you have like the largest city in the world. People are coming to it. Like people are traveling. Like people who are not from the area. People who, you know, they could be from Tokyo. They could be from Paris. They could be from Zimbabwe. They could be from anywhere. Just travel to this place, and you lose that sort of like community feel of like because it's more of like a hot spot for all these different people that really have no other connections other than the city they're living in.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have connections between musicians or between songwriters. And so in New York there can be micro scenes, which is one of the ways that I got started as a songwriter. There was an event that happened every Sunday at the CB's Record Gallery, like back in the dim and distant past. And you know, you could incubate songs there and develop songs there and have a place to perform them. And also your name would be in the paper, and it was really cool. And it was, I don't remember exactly how many of us there were. There were probably somewhere between 8 and 10 people.
Yeah.
And you got to perform every week. It was awesome. And it was a great opportunity for, you know, a baby songwriter like I was to, you know, try stuff out and see how it feels when you play stuff in front of people as opposed to just playing at your house, and, you know, also to meet people and figure out where it is you want to go with this. Like, how much industry do you want to do? Do you want to do any industry? Do you just want to play locally? Do you want to play out of town? You know, and to, like, bounce these questions and concerns off other people that were doing the same thing. I don't know if anything like that exists in the city now. It did then, and it was really, really wonderful.
That's cool. So do you miss like the old city, like the way it used to be, like before Giuliani and things changed?
Yes and no. I miss being that young. I miss being that thin. I don't miss being that broke. That was a drag. And I really like that you can walk around in Manhattan and not have to worry so much.
Okay.
Plus, I mean, I've always got a guitar on my back, and I always feel kind of vulnerable because I can't really run. But then, I don't know. I miss how many venues there were. I miss how, you know, at any given time you can walk up and down St. Mark's Place, and you know, there's bands all over the place. That I miss. The other stuff, like the crime and the, no, not really. I do miss CBGB's. That was a great place to see bands. And CB's Gallery. It was also a great place. Those I miss. The rest, and the Scrap Bar. All right, before I say I don't miss anything else. Okay, that's about it. Oh, yeah. And the 90s was a great era if you wanted to see shirtless men on TV. That I miss, too.
Okay.
That was awesome. Anthony Kiedis running down the street, no shirt. Oh, my God, please. I'll stop now. But
were they shirtless during the Super Bowl?
Yeah. And he doesn't look too bad. I mean, you know, considering.
He's in his 50s now, I think.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. He's got all the tattoos, still got the long hair, has a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It was not bad.
Yeah. Except they weren't actually performing. The music was pre-recorded. They printed it over.
Still, that was quite an output of aerobic energy.
Yeah.
And I must say, though, what really impressed me was Bruno Mars doing the good foot twice. That was nice. I didn't know he could do that. I was very impressed. Did a very nice job.
I mean, you say what you will about his music. He's a very talented performer. He could do a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
So, interesting stuff. So, so what's typical like month like for Karen and Joe? What do you guys like do there like the month? Like what type of gigs do you have? What type of traveling do you do?
Well, I work for an arts agency called Healing Arts Initiative.
Okay.
And they keep me very, 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 very busy. Very, very busy. I play at nursing homes 3 times a week, way out in the Rockaways, which is out in Queens, and that's a 2-hour commute.
How are the Rockaways doing these days? Are they rebuilt?
To a large extent, yeah. They're doing a lot of development out there, especially in the area I play in, and they're building on the beach, which, what can I say? I wouldn't buy one of those houses.
Yeah.
They look really nice. There's a new YMCA out there. There's a Starbucks is coming. There's a Subway. There's an expensive pizza joint. There's a surf shop. It's getting kind of hipstery in certain areas, which is kind of a mixed blessing. The rest of the Rockaways, I don't think they're doing so great. It was, you know, kind of a depressed area before the hurricane, and those areas tend to be neglected by the city. I would imagine that that is probably still the case. As for the work that we do out there, we have a lot of fun. Yeah. Joe has got a following of ladies that get all excited when he shows up, because he doesn't always come with me.
So he's like the Beatles?
Yeah, although, no, it's kind of crazier than that. This one woman who never ever spoke to me for all of the years that I went out there, as soon as he shows up, she comes over to us, and her eyes are all big, and she's like all excited, and she goes, "I want to take you home and do drugs with you." And I was like, "Really? Wow." And she's like, "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him." And like, okay. He's gotten flashed a couple times, like these 80-year-old ladies, like. And it's not for me. It's for him. So,
how do you know?
Because she never flashed me.
When you weren't watching.
I was watching. That was for you. That was all for you. So we do that quite a bit, and that pays bills and puts food on the table. We've been working on writing quite a bit. Before it got cold, we were doing a lot of open mics in and around Jersey City. There's one a couple blocks away from us. There's another one a little further away. I think I probably just gave somebody a shot because I moved the microphone. So we do a lot of that. And we're working on writing a new album, so we will try to get some time in there during the week to actually develop new songs.
Okay.
Joe writes a lot faster than I do musically. You know, so he'll have like a higher output in terms of how much stuff he produces, but I'm more confident.
Okay.
So I'm like, now I like this. This is the song. That I just have to come up with words and a melody. So, you know.
So you said you work for an art agency. So how much time do you actually have where you can dedicate to your band?
Not a lot. You know, and my schedule varies quite a bit. Like right now, it's definitely on the edge of unmanageable. I also teach piano, and I teach in a school. So I run around a lot. I also try to work out every day, which over the last week and a half just hasn't happened because I haven't had the time. That's why with the record that we're writing, it's different. It's going to be a hard rock record, but it's much less, what can I say? There are fewer guitar changes, or fewer guitar chord changes. It's more riff rock oriented. And it's easier to write that stuff when you don't have a whole lot of time. My earlier stuff tended to be more introspective and more melodic in terms of guitar changes and stuff like that. Now it's just like, and I think also because I spend so much time on the subway and I spend so much time kind of like stressed out and keyed up, it's much easier for me to resonate emotionally with some loud, heavy riff. It's like, yeah, I've been dealing with this all day. Yeah, this is kind of how I feel. Yeah, ba-da-da, ba-da-da, da-da-da. Yeah, that's it. That captures it.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're about to head to another break. Alan, just let me know when you're ready. No, we're not ready, so I'm going to ask you another question while he's getting ready. So, so how would you describe then your genre? What type of, like, I guess subgenre? Is it like power pop? Is it bluesy? Like, what is it?
Well, the stuff that we're working on now, like if you go to our Reverb Nation page and you listen to the song Tease or Evil All the Time, those are definitely blues rock tunes.
Okay.
The earlier stuff is more in the indie rock genre, and I guess we have a couple tunes that you could call power pop.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, Eyes Turned Toward the Sun, is like some surf rock deal. And then we've got another song, it's called Firefly, that's got lots of layered guitars and, you know, lots of high vocals, and, you know, it's kind of inspirational, new agey kind of. So it kind of runs the gamut. I think it may be, from an industry perspective, difficult to define, but I don't care.
Okay. So we're going to go to PSA, but when we come back, we're going to play a couple of your songs, I believe, right? How many songs is it? 2. So we have two of your songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that you know which 2 songs that are being played.
I think I remember what they were, yeah.
Alan, do you know? So.
Yeah, the last time. Yeah, really. I'll just say anything. I'll pretend I'm... Blue Sky Dream. Oh, yeah, there you go.
So, so we're going to go to a PSA, and then we're going to go to those 2 songs, I believe. All right. Abe Hills, take it away. Okay, and we're back. We're going to... We changed things up on the fly here. We're going to talk about Blue Sky Dreams. So, tell us about the song. How did you guys write it? What's the song about?
All right, well, I wrote it before we met.
Okay.
And I was going to record it with my other band, but I don't know. Something went wrong with that. I don't know what went wrong. And so we didn't record it. I didn't record it until Joe and I did our first recording together, which was mainly of stuff that I had written. He did the arrangement, and he played the lead guitar, and he also did, I think he did a ghost rhythm guitar track on there, just to make the sound beefier. I played acoustic guitar and sang. I started writing it in my mind at the end of an MS ride from where? From Sandy Hook to Cape May.
Okay.
And I was riding into Cape May, and I was exhausted after riding 90 miles and like sweating out all my salt. Woohoo! And my boyfriend at the time was supposed to be waiting for me at the finish line. And I knew he wasn't, because for various reasons. And I thought, well, so much for my blue sky dream. And, you know, I thought, blue sky, oh, that's good. So I was annoyed and dehydrated, and I came up with this idea. And I thought, I've got to remember that. And I did. And so when I got home, and he was not waiting for me at the finish line. Thank you very much. He was not. Because he wandered away, which is why he's my ex instead of, you know.
Was he at the event at least?
He was, yeah, because it was his idea that we do the freaking ride. You know, and he said, oh, I'll wait for you at the finish line. I'll be there, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. No, he wasn't. Okay, moving forward. So I realized that the relationship that I had anticipated being so perfect and wonderful was definitely not perfect and wonderful. It had its good points.
Yes.
But it was not all that I had hoped. And so, also at the time, he and I were trying to figure out how we were going to be together. I don't have a problem with arguing in a relationship. My parents argue all the time. They've been together since they were teenagers. Okay. So for me, arguing does not mean you're having problems that you need to break up. It just means that you're two human beings. Okay. He didn't see it that way. And, you know, we had a couple of discussions about how, listen, if you're going to be with me, then we're going to argue. That's just me. I mean, you know, look at the way I talk. I mean, yeah, come on. And, you know, his family was no less fractious, but they were just more repressed. Like an argument meant that, you know, you're going to have a fight, there's going to be broken windows, and the cops are going to be called. I'm like, no, in my family, an argument means you're going to yell for a little while, someone might cry, and then you're going to go to sleep. You're going to get up, and everything will be fine. So it felt a lot more dangerous for him, and I didn't see how we could possibly get through this. Yeah. And that's what the song is about. You know, he was also the kind of cat that he was very charismatic, he was very athletic, very good-looking, and had, like, minions and followers. And
was he a musician?
No, he was a science teacher.
Oh.
You know, whole other thing there. And, you know, a lot of people looked up to him. He was a wonderful teacher. He was absolutely, absolutely great at what he did. But I was thinking, so am I supposed to, like, fall in line behind these people and just say, oh, you're so wonderful, you know, you're so blonde, and you're so handsome, and you're so, I'm like, no, that's never going to happen.
Okay. But, so this song is about that.
Yeah, and, like, how I was trying to find my way through all that. Needless to say, since I'm not sitting here with him, the way that I found my way through was my way out. But, you know, at the time I thought, we might be able to work with this, but I don't know. So, you know.
So let's play that, since Alan has it already all queued up. So we just heard Blue Sky Dreams. The next song is, Alan, what's the next song? Last Time. So what's this song about?
That's an even older song. That was one of the first songs that I wrote. And I used to play it solo and with another band that I had. And I resurrected it. And we worked it up. But it's kind of a rant. It's kind of a dark night of the soul type thing about feeling like you've come to the end of your rope.
Yeah.
But I was, 22 when I wrote it?
Okay.
I was 22 or 23. And I'm like, there's no way I can be at the end of my rope. I'm too young. It just hasn't happened. So I figured that I would, eventually in a couple of days, and it always seems like forever when you're that young, that I would, wake up in the morning and find that I had not come to the end of my rope, or that there was another rope. And this was what I was feeling at the time when things just seemed kind of desperate, and I wasn't sure what to do with myself.
Yeah.
I figured out what to do.
Right. As somebody that's like counting down the days till he turns 30, it's like I understand the feeling where you think you're at the end of the rope.
Yeah. Oh, you're not. You're so not. You'll be fine.
All right. So let's play the song. last time. So sitting here talking to Karen and Joe, I heard some interesting things about Joe's previous lives as musicians and different bands. One about a coffin in the back of a car.
Oh yeah. Well, I was in a band called Sweet Convulsions.
Okay.
And it was myself and Jack Pavlik, his name at the time. And so he heard my brother and I perform.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing another band at the time called Misprocession. But Nelson and I were a little bit at odds at that time. So I had a little hiatus, and then he said, look, I want to start this kind of like, I don't know, punk rock, industrial thing. All right, sure, I'll listen to it. And anyway, making a long story short, the shows he booked were really fun because we did a show with well, let me before I go out.
Yeah.
The coffin thing, we were shooting a video. He wanted to shoot we did a cover of I Will Survive by Warrior Gainer, and then he wanted to shoot a video and like he's coming out of the coffin or something like that. Anyway, like someone a lover of his died.
Yeah.
And he was in the coffin, whatever. So we had to get this through. We had to go. We were going to be shooting in the studio off of Broadway.
Yeah.
So we're going from Jersey, going through the toll booth, and he has a Ford Festiva. So it was this coffin sticking halfway out of the car, and the only way I can fit is in the car. So I was in there. I was like, all right, I can breathe. And it was funny because once he paid the toll booth, it's like I wave. That's nothing. We also had mannequins. We used to bring these mannequins. He used to put fireworks on and blow them up and stuff. It was all props. This band was all props. It was like one time he was on top, upside down in an engine hoist, singing "I Will Survive."
So it's very Alice Cooper-esque type of stuff.
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. Yeah. Some clubs like in Hoboken and even some in the city would say they knew we were coming and said, please. No fireworks. No. This is before what was that band? White Snake or something.
Did you have a prohibition against the fake blood too?
Yeah, he also did. We had two dancers and they stayed. We did like a Charles Manson thing, and this girl had like a board behind her and like a little rubber doll fetus, and this other dancer just go with a knife, a real knife, just go with all her might, and rip it out and take the baby. Crazy.
That's wild.
You see?
Yeah. But what's crazy is some of the people went to see us. There was this dude that was really into it, and he looked a lot like Charles Manson or something. Dude, we got to stop doing this. We're getting a lot of crazy people.
That is pretty wild stuff. Like, how come you didn't bring this up earlier when I asked you what you did before this? This is fascinating.
I wasn't thinking about it. It was such a long time. I mean, we did that. We played at the. That was at the Pyramid Club. We did that.
He's very modest.
Okay.
Places. Oh, we've done different shows.
I think we're running out of time, so I just want to thank you. I really appreciate at least getting that story out before we left. It's a fascinating story. One of the most fascinating stories I think I've ever had on the tap. All right. So this week's over. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.